3D printed an adapter to hook to my Chinese diesel heater, where I can hook a 3-inch duct hose to the intake. I'm printing with TPU. TPU is flexible, and it's going to be about a 7-hour print. And this is the brand TPU I'm using. And my temperature is 210 on the hot end, 40 on the bed, no cooling, no supports. 4 bottom layers, 4 top layers, 4 walls, 20% infill. As you can see, it's flexible. So we're going to let that finish printing, and we'll install that in 8 hours. But I got to do some work to the heater first. Alright, the heater we're modifying is the SILVEL. It advertises at 8 kW. It's 5. Great heater. I ran this heater for about 20-25 hours. 15 of those hours was untuned, how it came out of the box, and then I went ahead and tuned the heater for a better burn. Less heat output, but better burn. Now I've got the heater apart, all apart. Now what am I doing? I've already pulled a complete disassembly of this. I didn't video that. There's plenty of videos of these disassembled. This one is actually pretty good quality. And one thing I noticed, there's no magnetic pickup. There's 2 magnets on here on the fan, but there's no sensor or pickup anywhere on here unless it's built into the motor wires, but it's only 2 wires to feed the motor, so I don't know how it's sending feedback to the computer. But all around it, there's no Hall sensor. But back to the build quality. The build quality is really good on this one. I was very impressed with it. I was expecting really cheap garbage. It's really nice. It's got quality hex screws, nothing cheap. Even the screw that holds the motherboard on is a quality screw, where my other heaters are not plastic. They're Phillips head cheap screws. This is the motherboard. This is a tunable version. So if you want to compare it to the one you have, they make tunable and non-tunable. This is what the tunable on this SILVEL looks like. Everything's clearly labeled. I don't see a firmware version or a model on here. I mean, I could pop out the plastic and see there's something on the other side. I may do that. But anyway, it's a standard 5-key controller, whereas my other one has a 6-key controller. Got the pups relaxing. There's a 6-key controller that is non-tunable. All it has is Alpine mode. And I also have another 5-key controller. It's exactly like this one. Same display, everything. And it's non-tunable. So just because you're getting a 5-key controller does not mean it's tunable. Anyway, what I'm doing, like I said, I was impressed with the quality. I tore it down. All the casting is nice. My burn chamber is nice and clean. My purpose of tearing it apart. Even the plastic casing is nice. It's better quality than my other heaters. My other heater that's installed on my window. This metal housing that it comes in, it's all tack welded and riveted together. There's a metal shelf that does come out. So at least they design it to where the shelf can't come out. This is what the fuel tank rests on. It slides into a slot on one side. And then actually on both sides it slides to a slot. I can't do it while holding the phone. Yeah, I can. And heaters on the bottom, fuel tanks on top with the fuel pump mounted in the rear. And then my purpose of pulling it all apart, I need to cut a hole, cut this grate out. You can see I crudely marked a hole. I need to cut a 4-inch hole out to allow me to screw in the piece I'm printing into the back cover of the heater. The back cover on these heaters are about 1 inch behind here. So if you were to make something to seal on here for your fresh air intake hose, it's not going to seal. I mean, it'll seal on here, but it's not actually connected to physically connected to the heater, because you'll be sucking air from inside the case. So I want to avoid that, and I want to set this up to where if I want to put a hose, I can just hook a hose onto the rear. So I'm going to get rid of this grate. I'm going to try the plasma cutter. I guess it's going to melt on my paint. So So I guess if I use the plasma cutter, I'm gonna go find some paint and clean it up. I don't really see another way for me to cut this. There's a thick gauge metal. So you gotta use a Dremel, which I think I'll just use a plasma cutter and do some filing and get it a clean hole. And I'll bring you back after I get that done and get the heater back assembled. Alright, I use a dusty old Hobart 110-volt plasma cutter. Made the cut. Now I'm gonna clean the edges. Go ahead and throw some paint to touch up. A little revision. The Hall effect sensor is mounted on the board to where the magnets pass right in front of it. And this is the motor information. It's a Fully. Yeah, I'm still happy with the quality of this unit. And I did pop the board out. There's no writing on the other side for a version of the board. So it's a gamble when you buy a control board. One of the sure ways to tell is on the display it has a 6-blade fan, where some have three blades. I've heard a lot of people say a 3-blade fan is non-tunable. The icon, what I mean by that, the little icon of the fan blade itself. I do have a, see when I turn this one on, let me turn it on, but it usually shows 3 blades of the fan. No, I don't even believe this one even shows blades. Yeah, it's 3 blades. The ones that show 6 blades, supposedly they're all tunable. But I do have a controller with a 3 blade that is tunable. But the majority of 3s are not tunable. And also, if your controller displays H 1 through 6, with an H is usually non-tunable. A P is tunable. And I think there's one with the L as well. That one's tunable. But usually a gamble whether you get a tunable or not. Right now the hole's cut out and the case is drying. The paint is dry and I cleaned it up with what I had. I mean, I could have done a better job, but it's very good enough. What else I gotta say? That's about it. I'm gonna start putting this back together, and I still got quite a few hours to wait for that print. Let's go check on that print. Print's still doing its thing. That's slow, nice slow progress, and again, it's flexible. You're not supposed to touch a print while it's printing, but it's not gonna hurt anything for what I'm doing. And I still got, I want to say my total times will be 8 hours on this, and I'm 3 hours in. And this is the adapter I'm printing from Thingiverse. Brand Ting is the designer. And this will screw onto your diesel heater and adapter, allow you to slip a 3-inch hose over this. You don't have to print out TPU. I've got TPU, it's what I want to try. It's flexible, it makes a tight seal. I haven't printed one solid in PETG to see how good it fits the threads, because most of these diesel heaters don't have good threads. This one, the threads are pretty good. My other one, the one I'm running in my window, it only has partial little piece of threads. It doesn't have threads all the way around. This SILVEL unit, if they continue to use this diesel heater in their units, this is what comes with it. But a lot of Chinese manufacturers, they just, whatever they have available, that's what they put in. So if you bought a SILVEL like this one, you're not guaranteed to get this heater, these electronics. Just at the time of my review and the time I purchased my heater in December of 2024, this is what came with my SILVEL. There's a model number on there if you're interested. And I just downloaded from Thingiverse, and the slicer program I'm using is Cura. I'm using 4.1. There's a lot of versions of Cura, but I am printing hollow solid walls, hollow for flexibility. I mean, you could print it solid if you want, but TPU, when it's solid, it's no longer flexible. It's a very tough material. It's way tougher than I thought it would be. But yeah, this what we're printing. We're about right here right now, about a third of the way through. So yeah, that's what I got going on. Alright, the heat is back installed. I thought about using that green fuel hose and split it in half and put it around here like an edge guard, but it's just gonna come off easy. So I just cut a 4-inch hole. It's not perfect. That's good enough for the job. So let me finish putting this back together. I'll get back with you. Something else I've done was upgrade the fuel line system. Bought the $8 Amazon PTFE fuel line kit. It's a poly tube PTFE. It came with a filter, a bunch of clamps, hose adapters. It was a fairly easy install, but it's really hard to tuck all this stuff inside this case behind the fuel tank. Let me put all this in there, and I'll bring you back when it's in there. Alright, pretty much back together. The fuel line, the fuel pump. Remember I said it's tight for everything. Fuel goes out this line, loops through the filter, which you can't really see from this angle. Through the filter, loops back, goes down into the supply for the pump. Through the pump, out the pump, and the line loops down. It goes into a little hole at the bottom and goes to the bottom of the unit. That ain't hooked up yet. I'm not gonna hook up, I guess, to put the case cover back on. It's very tight to make all this fit, and the tank actually needs to go this way about 1/8 of an inch. When you put the cover on, it's gonna force the tank over. It's a very tight fit to get everything back in here. But so far it's looking pretty good. Also to note, the upgraded clamps, it's out of round. That's a problem I had with a diesel leak on here. Just because it's a brand new clamp doesn't mean it's going to seal. So I'm going to try to take my channel locks, straighten it out. What's the worst that can happen? Alright, it's a little better. Still has a little ovalness to it. But I'm going to try this out. I had a lot of trouble getting this clamp to seal on the bottom last time. Making progress. You know what's cool about this printer? I can slow it down. I'm at 100%. Let me drop it down to 10%. I can slow it down if I have a mess up. And work on the part, you know. A little bit of work. And I can just raise it back up. I can even increase to, I think, 200 or 300%, make it faster. But I can also change the speed in the settings. So after it finishes this layer and gets back to the starting point, it's going to pick up speed back to 100%. But I can also change in the settings when I go to put it in the file on the SD card. I can increase my speed, adjust my speed wherever I want. And that's just a little chart I added in. Alright, the part is built. Flexible. Let's peel it off there. I just need to clean it up. Get rid of all the string spider webs. And it should screw right onto the diesel heater and allow the hose to adapt. And she is back together. I did test it, it's working fine. I have my adapter. This screen will come off and I can put a 3-inch hose. Easy little modification. Worked out pretty good. Thank y'all for viewing. That's all I got for this round. I'll be using this in a day or two.